and we'll have captions on. Thank you all for coming today. I was expecting 12 people. I just texted Tina and she was going to resend the link out.
Yeah, the link is in a not the email from today, but from a few days ago. I can get the date on that specifically.
Right. Yeah, I got it. And I think Madeline said that.
From October 31st. It's an email from October 31st. The link is there. The email
Yeah.
from Tina, yeah.
So, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Hallett. Okay, so
Hello.
I guess thank you for coming. We can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming. I am Peggy Marquez. I've met some of you before. Some of you sound like new names, which I'm excited to be able to meet. Just a 2-minute introduction. I just retired from the University of New Mexico, so I had a 25-year career in higher education. About the last 10 of those years, I worked as an achievement coach and a coach trainer, in which I did professional development and workforce development across the country through Central New Mexico Community College. And so most of my career was spent in adult ed at the University of New Mexico, Valencia, and in training coaches and in actual coaching students myself and instructing. So I retired last year. My father got really, really sick, and so I retired to help my mom take care of him, and we lost him shortly after. So just retired now, working part-time with NMEA, doing some professional learning opportunities, but coaching is my passion and training is my passion. I got my master's degree in organizational learning and instructional technology from the University of New Mexico, barely in 2015, so not very long ago, but that really helped me hone my skills in on virtual learning, which then shortly after we all got tossed into. So we will meet virtually this week and next week. I'll talk more about the course logistics as we move along, but I'll just go ahead and get started, and then I'm going to give you all an opportunity. First of all, this session is brought through you through Propel, an NMHED funded leadership project, and the webinar will be recorded. So what I'd like to do is on the next page, I'm going to enter a whiteboard, and I would like you to enter your name, something unique, exciting, or fun about yourself that has nothing to do with the job, and why you have decided to attend this course. I'm new to Canva, so it looks like it's not going to go live. So what I'm going to do is open a whiteboard here. Can you see this Jamboard?
Yes.
Can everyone see the Jamboard?
Yes.
Okay, so on the Jamboard, you can either go to the text box and click on it, type in here, and go and enter it there, or you can choose a sticky note and type something in it and do it there. So what I would like you to do is choose either a text or a sticky note and just really quickly tell us something about yourself that has nothing to do with your job, why you attend this course, and your name, please. And it'll just be a couple minutes.
I can't get it to let me edit anything.
I was going to say I don't have permissions either.
Okay, then instead of worrying about that, what I want to do is go ahead and let's unmute ourselves and just do it verbally. If you don't mind turning on your camera for a second, unmuting and introducing yourself.
Let me see. Is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. So, hi. I'm Haley.
Hello.
I teach science and language arts, reading and writing here at Adult Education in New Mexico. Outside of that, I'm getting my associates in business administration, and this is actually my final semester for my degree. So
Congratulations.
awesome. Thank you. Apart from that, I am an artist and I do a lot of painting, making different things in my spare time. And I'm also a mom, which, motherhood. Motherhood is a trip in today's day and age. It's intense.
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
No, no, or faint of patience. But yeah, so that's me.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'll go. I'm Christy Lockery. I've met you before, Peggy. So what can I tell you about myself? I'm new to the director position at Adult Ed at NMSU Grants. I taught in Korea for 5 years, ESL.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it wasn't ESL because it was English as a foreign language there for university students.
Right.
I recently ran my first half marathon. And yeah, no patience for children, but I have two for kids. So
Thanks for joining us.
sure.
Hi. So, sorry. I'm April Smith, and I am the ESL coordinator at Santa Fe Community College. I've been here for going on 2 years now. Fairly still learning New Mexico in general. I've only been actually in the state for just over a year. And I have lived overseas in the Philippines and West Africa for some time. And yeah, that's kind of travel and culture is my passion, I guess. So that's me.
Interesting. 2 world travelers.
Yep.
Thank you. And welcome to New Mexico.
Thanks.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi, Peggy. Hi, everyone. Welcome, everyone. I've been waiting for this course for like at least a year and a half, so I'm so excited. And in addition to being an HSE and an ESL teacher for a long, long time, I am also a Kundalini yoga and meditation instructor. So I always feel like in one way or another, or whatever I'm teaching, I'm just coaching and doing instructing, but in different ways in my yoga classes and giving advice and hearing a lot when the students open up to me and share their personal lives. And so I always, wanted to have some extra tips and coaching. I don't want to be a social worker, I don't want to be a mom to the whole world anymore. I'm letting go of that. So
Yep.
I'm a mom to my kids and to my fur baby right now.
Yep.
So, but I do want to help and serve and guide and motivate. Um, so I don't want to take all the responsibility on my shoulders anymore. So I want to learn about how to do that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Madeline. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, I'll go now. I'm Marilyn Alexander. I'm right now working through Catholic Charities as a high school educational adult educator. I just saw that I really am new to all the training and all they were offering, and I just saw it come up, so I just signed up for it. I'm a past teacher. I was a high school teacher at Rio Rancho High School for 4 years, taught English. Prior to that, I worked at the post office and retired from there. And so this is kind of like my second career teaching. So I'm excited to get some information and some knowledge under my belt.
Thank you. So we have Don Denton with us today. He's our technical support, but please introduce yourself, Don.
Hi, everyone. Don Dutton here. I've been doing this kind of thing since 2015 with Tina and the NM Delt team, and now the NM Propel training team. All along, I've been passionate about English teaching, ESL, in Turkey and Mexico and Dallas and Tokyo and a variety of places where I lived and taught.
Wow.
Good. Another. I'd like to join the other world travelers here. But I'm living in Las Cruces now, and just helping out a little bit. I'm retired, helping out with teacher training, webinars, and things like that. And I don't know much about motivational coaching. I'm looking forward to hearing from Peggy today.
Thank you. Thank you all. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump right in. And I was glad to hear a little bit about what people were interested in. But coaching is taken from life coaching applied to academics, and motivational coaching is a smush between life coaching, academic coaching, and motivational interviewing. And so what I did is I just got some definitions from the major life coaching schools from across the country. And so the first one is ICF. Actually, most of these are global life coaching schools or certification organizations. So ICF is this International Coach Federation. And so would somebody like to read out that first definition, please? I just wanted to say really quickly that I don't like to do most of the talking. I do not mind being interrupted. As a matter of fact, I'd much rather be interrupted. I'm not the kind of facilitator that says, hold your questions until the end. Anytime you have a question, a comment, anything like that, please do interrupt me. I welcome it. And I also would appreciate, people helping me read. So either you guys can choose to read this by yourself, or if anyone would like to read any aloud, that would be great too. April, you
I'm
put
sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Is that
Thank
better?
you.
Okay. So the first one, ICF, coaching is partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The second one is IAC, the International Association of Coaching.
I'll read that one.
Thank you.
Coaching is a transformative process for personal and professional awareness, discovery and growth, and the expansion of possibilities.
Thank you. The next one is CU, Coach University.
Coaching is a profession that supports personal and professional growth and development based on individual initiated change in pursuit of specific actionable outcomes.
Ooh, thank you. Okay, CTI is Coach Training Institute.
Okay, I'll go. Coaching is built on the cornerstone that we are all naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, and that we all possess the capacity for knowing what is best for ourselves.
Thank you. CTF is Coaching for Transformation. And it's coaching is a partnership that maximizes human potential. We trust that our partners are resourceful and that they have the inner wisdom to overcome obstacles and generate compelling strategies and action plans. And the last one is CFP, and I can't remember exactly what that one is off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll read it. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize his or her own performance. It is helping them learn rather than teaching them.
So looking at all these different definitions of coaching from different major global organizations, what words stick out at you?
Potential sticks out to me.
Potential? Yeah.
Individual initiated.
Individual initiated.
Partnership.
Partnership.
Maximizing our naturally creative resources also really jumps out at me as an artist.
Excellent.
Potential, also for me, potential.
Potential. Yeah, and so coaching is a process, it's a conversation, but coaching is a philosophy also. And there are definite skills and strategies. So it's a format. There's a format to it. So some people think like, oh, that's got to be like really woo-woo or whatever. And actually it is, there is lots of brain-based research, which we're going to look at later on in the course, about the efficacy of coaching and the coaching process. There are, all of these organizations have core competencies, standards, and a code of ethics. And so even though all these are not exactly, I don't want to say like in the social work world or in the counseling or mentoring world, they are really related. But the bottom line of coaching is that, as Madeline said, we do not have to solve the problems for everybody. We do not have to be the mom of the world. We do not have to take everyone's responsibility on our own shoulders. And it's because of the underlying philosophy about that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. So this is what coaching is not. Back when Thomas Leonard in the 70s, who was actually working in human resources and trying to help these CEOs and executive and business, he came up with the word coaching. And unfortunately, he used the word coaching. We always think what could be a better word, but it immediately people think of sports coaching.
I was desperate.
How is it different? So from a sports coach, was that the question? How is it different? I didn't hear right. I'm sorry.
It sounded like that was just an accidental, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it sounded like that, but I think it was just an accidental unmuting with the other sounds.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So the difference between a sports coach and a life coach, we'll just call it, is that the sports coach is in charge, right? The sports coach calls the plays, tells the players what to do, tells the athletes what to do, and they execute it. So in life coaching, the coach is not the person in charge. It's the person being coached who is in charge. They are the expert in their own life. And they are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. You will hear that a lot. I'm glad it stuck out. And so they are the ones in charge. A coach is not Mr. Know-It-All. So it's such a relief to know that we don't have to know everything in order to help people or guide people as they solve their problems. We don't have to carry the weight of the world or be a savior or Superman. We don't have to pull teeth or pull people along like the tug of war. It's like, oh, I worked so hard. It's like I have to pull my students over that finish line. And so coaching and motivation is not that. And then good old Lucy, the best thing for me is that coaching is not giving advice. Now, I have done all kinds of personality analysis, over the years. And one of the things that we did is Strengths Quest. And it's created by the Gallup people, the ones that do the Gallup poll. And it's this really huge million people survey where you figure out what your top 5 strengths are. Excuse me. And my top strengths are strategic thinking and activator. And someone who is an activator likes to jump into something right away. Like you see a problem, let's jump, let's do it. And so it really goes against my nature when I learned how to coach, because I was the fix-it person for everything and everyone. Like everybody came to me with problems, not necessarily because I always had the best answers, because I was going to roll up my sleeve and do whatever it took, like the actual work. Like the caterer just canceled for our wedding and I was up all night, making 10 pans of enchiladas or whatever. But and so coaching actually goes against my nature, my natural state of being, but it's been the best thing ever for me that I ever learned in terms of self-care. A coach is not a cheerleader. And we're going to talk about that. And I always get a pushback on how to acknowledge students. And a lot of instructors I know in the adult that I've encountered say, oh, but I have to be their cheerleader. I may be the only cheerleader in their life. And so we're going to talk about that. But these are all what a coach is not. And so we're going to watch this short video about that. Really, it can illustrate what coaching is.
When you hear the word coaching, what springs to mind? Football coach?
Yes.
Yes.
Coach.
Thank you.
Yes.
Vocal coach? Maybe even a financial coach? Confusing, isn't it? Well, coach has become such a popular title that it's being used by lots of professions, often with no training. And sometimes coaching is just a fancy way of saying, I'll ask you a few questions and then tell you what I think you should do. Well, let's clear the air a little bit about coaching. Coaching is often confused with therapy, consulting, and mentoring. Now, those are great helping professions, but they're not professional coaching. Here's the difference. Therapists focus on the past and work to fix what's broken. Consultants provide quantitative analysis and create roadmaps for organizational change. They get paid to provide answers. Mentors help those with less experience. Mentors are already experts in their field and are helping others reach success. Now, there may be some overlaps in approach, but none of these are professional coaching. Professional coaching is a different type of conversation. There's a whole lot of asking and not much telling. Professional coaches are focused on you, helping you design your future, your goals. They're thought-provoking and
potential again.
inspirational. You work on your topic. A professional coach focuses on you. Professional coaches are also discerning listeners, empathetic, creative, intuitive, and curious.
There's creative.
They're trained in coaching behaviors and competencies, which makes them really good coaches, and they're bound by professional standards and ethics. A professional coach will be your partner, your advocate, your champion. Want to try things you've only imagined?
So, how many times have you told your students, or all you have to do to be successful in my class or on the HSE or in whatever is this, 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 and this, and this. 5 things or 3 things or whatever. Come back and do those and come back next week and we'll talk about it. And how many of you have ever said things like that to your students? Yes, I definitely did. Definitely. And students would, like you said, students come to you with challenges or maybe not even challenges. They come to you in the beginning saying, I want to do this. And right away, we go into that case management mode, right? This is what you do. This is how you do it, and everything will be fine. Well, that doesn't work really great. Or those of you that did raise your hand, did it work for you? Because it never worked for me. One of two things happened. The vast majority of the time, the students would come back and they would say, oh, I didn't do those things. And they'd be ashamed or be kind of like, I don't know, I didn't do it. And feel like a failure, or they would never come back. I'd never see them again. And so it didn't work well. And that is a deficit model, right? Let's see what you need to do or see what problems you have. Let's see how we can fix them. And we do that a lot in education, right? We're like, let's have you take a test and then we'll see, the worst score and see where you need to focus. And so this coaching really kind of turns that on its head. And so instead of saying, do this, do this, do this, do this, we do a little bit of teaching about what it would take. I mean, students don't know what they don't know, but we can explain the general logistics about the program and this and that, and then we ask some questions so that they can figure out for themselves in their creative, resourceful, and wholeness how they're going to fit this in their life, how they're going to solve this problem, how they're going to learn how to use their strengths to meet challenges. And I'm being very general now, because when we meet in Roswell in a couple of weeks, we're really going to hone in. The very first afternoon in Roswell, you all will be coaching each other. By the afternoon, I promise. And the best thing about coaching is that it takes the responsibility and it moves it to the responsible party. And how do you think we do that? So it's like, where do you spend most of your time? Is it more of a directive style or a non-directive style? Now, I want to make the distinction between when you are a teacher and being an instructor as a coach. I still do a lot of training with advisors, and I'm telling them, don't give advice. And they're like, wait, but that's like my title. That's like my existence, my reason for being is to give advice. But really, there's time for you to be telling and instructing. And that's in a more directive style. And then a non-directive style is without opinion or judgment. And that's when you're doing open questions and reflecting and listening deeply. And then go into pure coaching is when you're asking pure questions at all, not giving any advice, suggestions, or anything at all. And so telling and instructing is what you have to do. I mean, you're instructors. Of course, you're going to do that. But when it comes to how am I going to fit school into my life? How am I going to make this academic plan to be successful? What is the best way for me to learn? When is the best way for me to learn? That is when the coaching comes in. And a quick example I want to tell you is that when I was turning 50, I had some health problems. And so I overcame those. And I said, I really need to, take control of my health. I'm going to be 50. And so I wanted to start doing some real, legitimate exercise. Like I had, gone to Zumba, I've been to the gym. I never really worked with a trainer or got on a full course. I had done some walking, but I decided to spend $250 to go to a trainer. And for me, that's a significant amount, and a significant amount to spend on myself on something that was, which like disposable income, I guess, or something that wasn't a real need for the household at that time. So I live in Belen and I was working in Albuquerque. And so I went to see this guy at the gym in Albuquerque. And so I told him, okay, I'm turning 50. This is the first time, my first real time to see a trainer and to go to the gym. I want a real program. I want to learn how to use all the machines correctly, blah, blah, blah. So right away he says, okay, well, you're going to have to, do you work? I said, I work full time. He said, okay, then you need to come in the morning. We open at 5. You can come in the morning, get in the shower, and, do your workout, then get in the shower and go to work. And I was like, but, and he's like, what do you mean? But we just started and already you're questioning me, and already you're making up excuses, no pain, no gain. Excuses are what got you to 50 years old and don't know how to exercise. And I was like, okay, sure, shut me off. And that's a little extreme, but right there, I was like, shut down, shut off, shamed. I was like, I can't work with this guy, but it's good advice, right? Get up, go to the gym, take a shower there and go to work. But here's the thing. It was impossible advice for me because I rode the train and there was no train that would get me into the gym at 5 a.m. So not only was it bad advice for me, it was impossible advice for me. It would require a major, major lifestyle change. And that would be that I would have to drive in at 5 o'clock. It would require more money to commute. It would require, it wouldn't work for me. And it didn't work for me. And that was the worst $250 I ever spent. I shut down. I didn't even talk to him the rest of the time. And then I'm sure he just thought that I was somebody who wasn't really committed to doing that. And so if he would have asked me something like, when do you see yourself coming to the gym? What time do you have? What can you work around? I was also in grad school. And so I had classes. And so I would have told him, well, I got to work around the train schedule. I got to work around my classes. My work can be flexible, whatever. Then we could have dialogued in that way. If he would have said, what do you like? Have you ever been successful before? What kind of exercise did you do? I could have told him, well, if I don't have accountability partner, I won't do it. But if I have a friend, I went to Zumba with a friend for 3.5 years. And when I didn't feel like going, she would call me and say, come on, come on. When she didn't feel like going, I would do the same thing. And that worked for me. So working out with a friend works, dancing works, and then working around the schedule. And if we could have started that conversation like that, I think it would have been way, way different with that trainer. And so again, on this continuum, there's going to be times when you're teaching and it's most of the input. Like right now, I'm presenting, I'm facilitating, most of the input would be from me. In person, that's going to be different. And then sometimes you're mentoring, and then sometimes when you're doing full coaching, the coach will actually talk very, very little. And it should be kind of like, you may have heard of appreciative inquiry before. And so when you ask questions and then sit in the silence, let people ponder and let them come up with their solutions. And there's actually a model that we use to guide this conversation. So I said earlier, it's not that you say, oh, just ask questions. There's actual a method to it. And so we're going to watch this little quick video next.
Being a coach is all about asking good, open questions. And this is where the GROW model comes in. GROW is a simple but effective framework that helps your coachee understand their challenges properly and identify what their next actions should be in order to reach a solution. Let's take a look at how it works. G stands for goals. The first few questions will help your coachee to establish an appropriate objective. For example, what do you want to achieve? What does your goal mean to you? When will you meet your goal? R stands for reality. You should then ask your coachee to think practically about their goal and how it would look in reality, using questions like, what support do you need to achieve your goal? What challenges do you expect to encounter? How might you deal with them? O stands for options. Next, ask your coachee to think of 3 or 4 things they could do that might help them reach their goal. Then work with your coachee to evaluate these options by asking questions like, what are the pros and cons of each option? Or what factors will you use to weigh up these options? W stands for will or way forward. Finally, establish how committed your coachee is to the actions they have agreed. To do this, ask the coachee to rate their commitment on a scale of 1 to 10. Explore together what would need to change or happen to get them to a 9 or even a 10. Identify some practical actions, such as blocking out an hour a week to work exclusively towards reaching their goal. Encourage your coachee to imagine how they will feel if they meet their objectives. Visualizing a successful outcome will motivate your coachee even more. So there you have it. By using the GROW model, you can help your coachee stay on track, engage in some genuine self-reflection, and identify relevant and realistic actions that will help them achieve their overall objectives.
So, whoops. So there is a method, a conversation that guides each step in the coaching conversation. And so the first thing is to establish a goal. The second thing is the reality and the options and the will and the way forward. And the main thing about that is, in the end, the will or the way forward is the accountability part. So there has to be accountability part in order for it to be coaching. Coaching is future focused, it's solution oriented. And so it's not based on the problem and why you're here in the first place and what happened in the past. That's therapy. So we stay in our lane. And it's all about getting to the future and to attaining goals in the future and motivating for the future. And a lot of instructors that I've worked with take the time in the very first class, and they make learning plans with their students, or they meet with them before the first class individually. But this can be done in a group in 20 minutes if you can get a really good format to work with students, and you start this learning plan. What is your goal? You help them look at their goal. And it's not just about what is your goal. When we meet in Roswell, I'm going to bring a bunch of tools, fun things to play with that can help people visualize and visualize goals. I mean, different pictures, different strategies to help people like really hone in on what is their goal. And it's like, okay, well, I want to do my high school equivalency. Okay, but why? Why are you in here? And so then it comes to the emotion. I want to be an example for my kids, or I want to buy a home, or I want a better career, for whatever their reason is. They can really hone in, attach that emotion to that goal. And then the reality of it, that's where the teaching comes in. And that's about talking about all the logistics. It is school, whether it's an HSC or an ESL course. This is school. This is real school. It's going to take effort. It's going to take time. It's going to take study. How do you see this fitting into your life right now? And we have a lot of different tools also. Then I'll be showing you all of them in Roswell about, instead of just saying, okay, how do you manage your time? Let's get some visuals. Let's color. Let's do these things so that people can really see. And again, the non-judgmental stuff is really important. Like I have students that say, well, I have to go to the casino 3 times a week. And it's like, okay, I like to go to the casino every once in a while, whatever. But okay, so where are you going to fit school? It's like, oh, well, I'll get rid of this instead of this, or I'll stay, whatever they do, to learn how to juggle. And we're not being judgmental in what they are choosing to do with this time. We're just letting them realize that this is going to take time, and there's only 24 hours in the day. So where are they going to carve it out and make a real plan to do it? Whether it's a visual, an actual calendar, whatever. Okay, and then how committed are you to do this? So the thing is that whenever you're going to do something like a post test, or you're studying for a major paper or something that they're going to write for you, you can say, okay, so back to that learning plan. You said you were going to do A, B, and C. Is that still a good plan? And then when it isn't, then it's the plan that fails, not the person. And that is huge, because this is all about being non-judgmental, and about taking out judgment and bias and shame. So when something doesn't go as well as they wanted, you can say, oh, looks like the learning plan needs some tweaking. And so that's a way different message than you didn't get it right this time, or what did you do wrong, or what was wrong. Just to say, oh, looks like the learning plan needs tweaking. Let's look at it again. And they're like, well, I guess I'm going to need more time. Or, yeah, I thought I was going to be able to do it when my kids went to sleep, but I was just too darn tired. Or, whatever it is that they realize themselves why their initial plan worked or didn't work, And then that's when you can be a cheerleader. When they made the plan and it worked for them, say, oh, looks like that was a good plan. Looks like that was a good plan. It worked for you. So the plan works or not. And so the shame has no place for it. There's no place for shame or judgment. And it works great. I can't wait for you guys to start trying it. And so on this page, I want you guys to unmute yourself, and I want you to just yell out when I ask these questions, whether this is a coaching, a mentoring, or more of a direct telling approach when a student comes to you. So the first one is, when something similar happened to me, this is what I did.
Mentoring.
And there's room for that in coaching and mentoring. And it's different from a one that we'll see later. Okay. Have you been faced with a similar challenge before? How did you solve it? Was that successful?
Coaching.
Coaching.
Coaching. And a big part of coaching is to help people uncover and understand their strengths. So when they're feeling down and upset, you can say, okay, have you ever solved something like this before? When did you ever feel proud of yourself when you reached a challenge? What did you do? How did you get that, whatever it is? I don't know. I painted a piece of furniture and I sold it for $300. What did you use within yourself to reach that challenge and to meet that goal and reach that success? Next question. This is what we need to do to pass the test.
A directive approach.
Directive approach. And the other thing that I hear a lot is we. When an instructor is talking to students, we need to get this done. We need to pass this test. We need to be focused. And it's like, actually, no, that's a little condescending. And it's not true because the instructor doesn't need to do those things. It's not genuine. The student is the one that needs to do it. And also the student is the one who can choose to do it or not. One thing you need to consider is
directive.
Coaching.
It's directive and mentoring. How could it be coaching? It's not quite coaching, but it could be.
What are some things that we should consider?
Ding, ding, ding. Great. What are some things that you need to consider? Because just like that's the one main thing about coaching is just like that trainer didn't know my life. It's like, we don't know the student's life. We don't know what they need to consider. And frankly, it's none of our business. We don't need to hear their whole life story. We don't need to know everything that's going on. It's none of our business. Anything that they choose to share with us is okay. But we don't need to know everything because we don't need to solve the problem. We don't need to set the learning plan. We don't know. We don't know their life and we don't need to. They know their lives. And so when we tell them what do you need, what are some considerations you need to make, that's just helping them to get it from their head down into a cohesive plan. Okay, now that you understand the requirements for the assignment, what's your plan to get it accomplished? Okay, it's not that we're dumbing down anything or allowing people to navigate this course on their own or whatever, or do what they can. We still have requirements. There's still learning outcomes to meet. This is still real school. And so what's your plan to get it accomplished? What's that?
Coaching, right?
That is coaching. Oh, I was the same way. I was a terrible student. I blah, 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 blah. And if I can do it, you can do it. I believe in you.
Mentoring.
That's mentoring.
Cheerleading.
That's not coaching. And that can also create some shame. What do you think?
Because everyone learns different.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, well, how come everybody else can do it and I haven't been able to do it?
Well, and what if they don't do it and they feel like they've let you down? I believe in you. And so I feel like that's like just a setup to let you down, a disappointment.
Yes. And when they feel like they're going to let you down, what might they do or not do?
They might give up or run away.
They might avoid you. They might run away. They might avoid you.
Mm-hmm.
They might lie.
Or that.
They might lie because they think they're going to disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not helpful to anybody, right?
Or they might take on more than they're ready for. Bite off more than they can chew, and then they set themselves up for that guaranteed failure because they weren't ready.
Yes, yes, very insightful, all of these answers. Thank you. Thank you. And that's not what we want. We don't want them, we don't want them to try to please us. You know, who are we here for? Right? What strength can you apply to this challenge?
That would be coaching
Mm-hmm.
because it's self-reflection instead.
Yes. This is the best way to be successful in my class.
Directive.
Right. It puts pressure and expectation.
And this is the best way.
Yeah.
Someone said earlier, everybody's different, right?
Right. We all learn differently.
And anyone that can reach success, how can you say which way was best?
If we
Right,
all
and if
get
you-
to the same goal, there is no best,
Right.
regardless of how we get there or the timeline needed.
And if you tell me it's the best way, then I'm going to feel like that's the way you want me to do it. Like, that's the way I have to do it. And that might not, like how it said, that might not be the best way for me.
Right. I don't know the answer right now. Let me research it so I can give you the best possible solution.
That sounds kind of like mentoring, but it also takes the opportunity for personal growth away from the student to find a solution for themselves.
Yes. Yes. It takes the opportunity away. Isn't that interesting? It's like, why are people in this field? We want to be helpful. We want to serve. We want to guide. And yet we can actually like do harm by removing their opportunity for growth and development.
We want to empower rather than be enabling the same inopportunity and lack of growth.
Yeah. And don't you think that comes a little bit from like ego?
Yeah.
Like a place of ego?
Yeah, it does. Like, I'm the teacher, I'm the everything, I'm the answer. I have all the answers for them. Let me just give you the answers rather than help you discover the answers you already know you have in yourself instead. And we just got to break you out of that shell rather than me just give you it all wrapped up in a bow.
I also have to say, though, that it's the easy way out. It is easier for me to find the answer and move you on your way than it is for me to like work with you as you try to find the answer.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Oh, this is going to be a great class. I can't wait to meet with you guys in person. How have you learned the skills that you have already mastered?
That would be coaching because it encourages self-reflection again.
And uncovering of strengths.
Right. That empowerment in the self that we want to see.
How can you turn that problem into a goal?
Also coaching.
Coaching.
Right. It's empowering again and seeing that potential that we have and getting them to unlock it.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you all. So we are coming up on an hour. I can't believe it. So I'm just going to quickly go through the outline. So this was week 1. This virtual sessions is making connections. And week 2, we're going to start in foundations of the coaching model and the coaching philosophy. And week 3 is we will be live in person. Yay. 2 full days. Just comfortably bring what you need to take care of yourself. Bring a chair cushion. We're going to be moving around a lot. We're going to provide lunch, I think coffee and then lunch by Nemea. They're going to be providing that. We'll be providing all the books, papers, everything. If you do have a laptop, please bring that with you. And then you will, part of your activity in between November and January is trying out the coaching with students and with your colleagues, with friends, whomever, and then we'll come back together virtually for 3 weeks and talk about that after you've had a chance in the field to actually use it. And then every first and third Wednesday of the month, I'll be doing the first Wednesday, I do a prepared webinar. The third Wednesday, I do what's called holding space. And so I just jump on and it's like office hours and people jump in and say, hey, I had this challenge, or this great thing happened with me this week, or how can I work this out? And we actually do coaching, whatever. And so that's how this course is going to work. These are all the different modules. I don't have to read to you. You can look at them real quickly. We're going to talk about this holistic and strengths-based model, really go into cultural humility and non-judgment and empathy mapping. We're going to get lots of I'm going to give you a lot of virtual tools that you can print and use with students or use online with students. For values, visioning, goal setting, career exploration, we're going to talk about neuroplasticity, growth mindset, how to listen, and how can you get the most out of this courses. I'm going to ask you to commit to learn. Lifelong learners, and there's research that shows that when teachers learn more effective strategies to use, their students do better. Which is kind of like you would think, a natural consequence. Participate fully. We will be, I'm going to ask you to use that growth mindset in learning and participate fully in our webinars. And for sure, when we meet in person, have the courage to experiment. So, Brene Brown says that to be vulnerable is how you develop greatness. And so when we meet and we do practice coaching, there's not going to be any role play. I'm going to ask you to bring actual challenges that you may have, or an actual goal that you may have, professional or personal or educational or whatever, because I want you, when you practice that coaching, to feel the real power of being coached on an actual goal or challenge or something like that in your life. And so again, it's going to be kind of like what happens at training stays at training. And then to put the theory into practice. So when I learned coaching, it was not a training that I went to and that was great, and then I forgot about it a week later, or I put the binder and put the certificate on my wall and never thought about it again. I'm hoping that this is something that can really help you in your professional and your personal life. And more than anything, I want it to make your job easier. Teaching is hard. Education jobs are hard. And working with people, especially that have had, negative experiences in the past with education, is super hard. And I know that we also work with people who are mandated to be there, which we'll talk about that too. But anyway, how many of you use Google Classroom, teach online and use Google Classroom? 1, 2, 3.
I'm still learning how to use it, but I'm really new to it.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we will use Google Classroom for this course. And so it'll just be more as an organization system to keep all our resources in. We will have a grades page, but you're not going to be graded per se. It's going to be if you do the assignment or whatever, you'll get full credit for it. It's not like you're going to be tested or anything like that. But I'm going to send you the link and invite you into the Google Classroom within the next day or so. And what I would like you to please do for our class next week is 2 things. One is a Quizlet mindset activity, and I will send you the link. And the other is the Harvard implicit bias test. That should say bias test. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is discuss in the stream in Google Classroom. And Halle, you're welcome to, I'm going to also give you my contact information to have to, if you have any struggles with that. But we're going to have a discussion board in the Google Classroom. And when I ask you to discuss about the implicit bias test, if you've never heard of that, it came out of Harvard. And you can choose different tests to take that show your implicit bias, which means you may have a judgment, which we all do. You know, it's like you can't say I'm racist or I'm not racist. Everything is on a spectrum, everything. And so in this implicit bias test, you can get in and take these different tests. And what they are is they'll show a word or a picture, and you just have to make connections with them. And it looks at the speed in which you do so, and whether you can judge things good or bad. And so when you discuss, you don't have to say, oh, this test showed that I'm racist against whatever, against left-handed people. You know, you can just talk about the experience of uncovering. You don't have to divulge any of your actual results. You can just talk about the experience of taking a test like this and about realizing about bias that we hold that we may not be aware of. And the reason that we talk about values and implicit bias in coaching is because it's really important for us to be aware of where our biases lie so that we do not let them interfere. One quick example I'll give you, it's 4:04. I want to be mindful. Can I have 3 more minutes of your time?
I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We were coaching, we did, I don't know if you guys remember, there was an Eclipse Aviation. It was in Albuquerque, and they built airplanes. Well, it closed down. So they had this whole lot of people, and part of the shutdown is they got X amount of money to retrain into a different job. So a bunch of them came over to the community college and they were retraining. And so when I was talking to this one guy about what major he wanted to do to go back to school and retrain, the first thing he told me is like, I can't even think of that right now because I don't know how I'm going to live on 60% of my income. So I was like, okay, he's telling me let's not talk about school. This has to be solved first. And so what we did is we grabbed index cards out of my desk, and I had him write all of his financial responsibilities. And then I kept play money because this happened with 80% of my students that came in, and they were upset about money. I had play money that looked real, and we actually got the money and we started paying his bills and passing him out, and he didn't have enough. He's all, what am I going to do? So I just started asking him questions. Well, what things are more important? Put everything that's more important to the side, things that are not important as important. And so he was doing that. And then he got to like some things that weren't, and he's like, you know what? I have to go to the gym to stay sane. I have to go to the gym. And then he's like, I need my high speed internet and cable because I'm going to be going to school completely online. And then he's like, of course I need my car. And then he's like, oh, I won't pay my child support for now. And I went, oh, like I got this visceral reaction to that. And he looked up and he goes, wait. I need to explain. And I go, no, this is your thing. If that's what you need to do. I'm like, Peggy, get yourself out of this. And he's like, no, I need to explain. And he said, my ex-wife is a nurse, and she makes a heck of a lot more money than we did. And her parents gave us a house when we got married, so I don't have to worry about my child, my son, not having shelter. He said, we're great friends. We co-parent very well. The reason I'm going to be taking classes online is because I'm going to provide the child care for my son, and we're not going to have to pay the daycare anymore, which is what the child support was going to. And when I got laid off, the first thing that my ex-wife told me is, why don't you stop paying the child support for a little while? And so I was like, okay, so that's what I meant earlier when it's none of our business and we don't know their life. That's one of the reasons that we're going to be talking about values and judgment and this implicit bias, is because I got in the way of his process when I had that visceral reaction to him saying he wasn't going to pay his child support. And there was a very great reason for him. But yet I forced him to go into this whole explanation because of my reaction. And so that was my 3-minute story. And I will be sending you an email with these links and the Google Classroom and how to navigate certain things in there. And I would just like to ask you, in from one word to one sentence, if you gained any value from your attendance today, what was it?
It was very thought-provoking today. Thank you so much. And actually, when you mentioned that about not paying the child support, I freaked just from hearing that. My face got all contorted. And I want to talk about that next time, maybe, because that is against the law. So
Okay.
I was going to say the non-judgment thing is something that I really like, but it is a challenge, especially when you hear something like that and you want to react and it's like, no, I can't, like, don't react. Like, that's hard. So I'm right there with you, Madeline.
It is.
And my face is expressive.
I learned that I think I definitely need to reevaluate the way I teach some concepts to my students. I think sometimes I am guilty of taking a more directive rather than mentoring or coaching approach. So it gives me a lot of food for thought and reflection for myself as a teacher.
Thank you.
I would say have an open mind about all of it.
Thank you.
It's also curious as to how it's going to make me reflect on myself and how I approach some of these things, you know, as far as that goes.
I will tell you, learning to coach really transformed the way that I communicate with my husband and my children.
As a mom, I'm definitely excited for that then.
Well, thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. I am going to repeat this because there was another important meeting I found out that 4 people were unable to miss to be here today. So we will have more people with us next week. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited. All of your input was really insightful, makes me excited. I'm really excited to see you all in person in Roswell in a couple of weeks, but I will see you virtually next Wednesday, 3:00 right here. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
May I add something?
Thank you.
Quickly?
Thank
Sure.
you.
Dawn?
Thank you.
Anyone needing help with Google Classroom or any of the Google tools, we're always here to help at NM Propel, right? So the easiest thing to do is tina@nmdelt.org to request any kind of help from me, from any of the members of the team. I can set you up or your site up to help with that kind of thing. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Don.
That.
Thank you, Don.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
And
Peggy, can I talk to you for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Stop recording. I think.
Yeah, you can stop recording.
Yeah, let's do that.